Good morning, everybody. Vinny Eastwood here. I was just kind of thinking this morning about trolls and trolling, and I did a video a long time ago about how to respond to them, because Psychology Today says that internet trolls are narcissists, psychopaths, sadists. They need your attention. So when you're on social media and you're doing anything that is worth doing, you are going to attract these people. And if you give them attention, you lose. They win. Okay? And you might think to yourself, oh, I might be able to convince them, might be able to say this, that, or the other, might be able to convince other people that they're wrong or whatever. No, you lose. Because you've just given them attention, which is what they want. And I was just thinking about this, like, you go out and you do a video, somebody says one abusive, narcissistic, trolling comment, and you decide that that comment is what's now worth your time. That's now what you want to spend your time doing, going to war with these people. You know, exposing them or It's just like, bro, block and the scum is gone. Like, this is how much time you really need to spend on these people. Because once they're blocked, you can't give them any attention and they can't get any of yours. So, you know, problem solved. I've been doing this for 16 years or so, and I can't count the amount of trolls that I've blocked. If you go to my Facebook and go to the blocking section, you have to scroll for a long time before you get to the end of the list. It's just, you get these people and they're not worth your time. Okay, and the interesting thing about it is, if somebody says something nice to you, you're like, oh, that's really nice, but the next comment is something nasty or whatever, and it totally overrides all the niceness, isn't it? Now, there's a mentality out there that you should just avoid all negativity, and that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you should focus your attention on people who actually deserve your time. Right? Like, if you're in the truth movement, there's a lot of very traumatized people in this movement who need attention, care, love, and somebody to hear them and hear them out, right? But if you spend all your time arguing with trolls, how many of those people are you actually helping? None of them, right? Because you're spending all your time on the people who ain't worth your time. It's just that simple. 16 years I've been doing this, and people won't listen to me when it comes to this approach. And it's like, children, please, grow up. It's just not working for you, I'm afraid. It's just not working for you. And that's probably because you're a narcissist, you're a sadist, you're a psychopath. And you've got all these people following you and following your channels and things of that nature that don't know this. Gotta tell you guys, the truth movement is not a place for the weak. It's not a place for the people who are fragile. And yet, many of us are weak. Many of us are fragile, including myself. So, if you are one of these people, stop feeding the trolls. Okay, like, you know, when you go to the zoo and it says, don't feed the animals? These are the animals we're talking about. And they're everywhere. They're all over social media. There's millions and billions of them. People who don't respect you. People who ain't gonna listen. People who just don't care. And what, might I ask, is the point of giving them your attention? All right, it's just no point to it. This is what's going to happen. You're going to spend time. You're going to spend your emotional energy. And in some cases, you might even spend your resources or cost your friends their calm, their cool, while you're going off trying to make war with people. And it's just freaking stupid. It's immature, you know. You're operating at a very low level of consciousness if that's what you're going after. And yes, I agree that some of these people do need to be put in their place. And I agree from experience that when you do put them in their place, it feels good. When you publicly call them out and expose their little tactics and things of that nature, it does feel good. Because you're in a fight, right? Now, my approach is a little bit different to most people in the truth movement. And the reason why my approach is different is because I've been mentored. All right? I had a look at people who had more experience than I did, and I got them to teach me how they deal with stuff. And this is what Catherine Smith, the wife of Jonathan Eisen, and they edit Uncensored magazine and New Zealand Journal of Natural Medicine together. And one time I was having a real hard time with these trolls. And she told me, Vinny, there's 2 rules. Don't take yourself too seriously, and I know a lot of you do, and don't take what people say about you personally. And I know a lot of you do. It's a very difficult task to ask somebody to do that. But just because it's difficult doesn't mean it ain't worth doing. Right? I know that I can sound arrogant or whatever, and that's just because I know what I'm talking about. Because I've been doing this for longer than any of you ever will. Okay? Just that simple. You will never do this longer than me. You will never be as productive as I have been. And I know that there's certain rules and self-discipline that you need to follow. And the reason for that is because you are trying to hold back the tide with a broom. All right? Can't be done. You can't convince these people. You can't change their minds. You can't make them see reason. You can't. So it's a waste of your effing time. And what that does is it makes you angry, just in general. Seeing these comments and stuff like that. It still happens to me on occasion. You know, I'll be doing a good show or whatever, and then I'll see some comment in the chat room that really pisses me off, and then I close the show on a bad note, or at least I could. But what I normally do is I find that person's account, whether it be on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, and I immediately block them. Don't respond. Don't talk to them. Just block them. They have proven that they're not worth my frickin' time. And if I took myself too seriously, I'd be really, really offended. And I'd be very, very angry. These people don't take me as seriously as I take myself. Yes, they don't. And that's not their fault, that's your fault. People need your attention. You give it to them, you lose, they win. All right, very simple dynamic. And I know that it can be hard. And I know that you have lots of urges that you want to fulfill. But it's just not good for you. It's not good for your friends. Because what you do is you wind up being full of negativity. Lots of negativity. And you don't help people by being aggro and offended all the time at everything. You know, this is what leftist scum do. All right? And if you're a leftist, it doesn't mean that you're scum. It just means that there's certain leftists and certain right-wingers who are scum. Okay? It's just that simple. There's lots of people in this world. They can't all be good. And you can't expect people on your quote-unquote side of the political spectrum to actually be on your side. Because they don't care. All right? Most people in this movement don't actually care about anyone other than themselves. And this is why you have to protect yourself from them by preventing them from having access to you. Somebody has to earn your attention. If they're not earning your attention by their actions, you are making a bad choice. And you are doing a disservice to yourself by giving it to them, right? So what else could you do instead? Let's say, for instance, I've got 2 comments, one of which is from some trolling, narcissistic piece of shit. And there's another comment, on the other hand, that's really supportive and nice. And there's another comment of somebody who seems to be having a hard time with it, and they sound like nobody's given them a hug or told them that they're worthy of life. You know, that's the person that's worth your attention, because we've got so many people out there, these trolls and narcissists, who are just going to hurt their feelings, who are just going to make their life harder. And you don't necessarily make anything better by opposing the people who are abusing them, per se, right? You can heal others by giving them attention. People who deserve it, okay? There's lots of people out there who are very, very traumatized, and I used to be one of them. In fact, I guess I still am, to a large degree. But I don't try to make other people feel my trauma or take responsibility for my trauma, because I have a drinking game that I've invented. It's called My Trauma is Bigger Than Your Trauma. So the idea of the drinking game is you get a group of guys round in a circle, and they each tell you what their biggest trauma was. Now, if you've experienced what they're saying, you know, and the elements of their story, it might be an abusive ex-partner. It might be a ruthless boss. It might be some kind of gang stalker online or something of that nature. Now, every time somebody tells you a trauma that you've experienced yourself, you're supposed to take a drink. And every time they tell you a trauma that you haven't experienced yourself, you have to react to it by going, oh man, oh man. So in this way, when you go around the circle, everybody gets to talk about their trauma, get their trauma listened to and validated. Because there's nothing worse for somebody who's traumatized than to get the impression that nobody's listening and nobody cares, isn't it? So helping that happen is sort of like what I try to do on my show. But that's just me. I'm out to heal people. I'm out to help people. I'm out to inform people. If somebody don't want my help, if somebody ain't listening to my information, if somebody ain't interested in healing, they're not worth my time. And you need to take a lesson from that and think to yourself, okay, maybe something that Vinny is saying, even though I don't necessarily agree with it, even though I've got arguments and stuff like that, maybe he's been doing this longer than anybody else in this country. He was the first. So maybe there's a possibility that he knows what he's talking about and I don't. So just take a lesson from it. This is free advice. I'm just giving it to you, okay? If you take it on board, you start following it, you're going to become more empowered. You're going to be a lot more motivated to do the things that you should be doing, which is helping people, helping the various forms of victimhood that happen as a result of being a conspiracy theorist, right? And I don't say a conspiracy theorist in an insulting way, like the Warren Commission after the JFK assassination, when all of JFK's enemies headed up the commission of inquiry into his death, and they sent out a memo through the CIA to all of their assets in the mainstream media under Operation Mockingbird, and told them that anybody who questions the official story is a conspiracy theorist. In the case of JFK's assassination, you are a conspiracy theorist if you don't believe in magic. All right? A magic bullet killed him. If you don't believe in magic, you're a conspiracy theorist. You know? See? It's like early narcissistic trolling. They just call you names and hope that they get a reaction out of you. Just ignore them, because they're not worth your time.